In 2007, when he set out on his mission, like John the Baptist in the Bible, he came out with a message, why is baptizing the Messiah? And he said, and I quote, "He on whom you see the Spirit descend and remain, this is he who baptizes with the Holy Spirit. And as I have seen and have borne witness that Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma is the Son of God." This was the message he brought. The people of Sierra Leone had faith in his message and voted in His Excellency Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma as President of the Republic of Sierra Leone. He was even referred to as the Vuvuzela of the All People's Congress Party. But he is actually the Minister of Information and Communications, an official government spokesman. He is also the National Publicity Secretary of the APC. Our chairman for this August occasion is a mining engineer with a very colorful employment history. He has served as minister in 4 different ministries under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma. I refer to him as the unsung hero and a political strategist with finesse. He is the master servant, a loyal messenger, who believes that in truth there is salvation. The Romans will say, "In veritatis salus." So don't be surprised if he tells you that he's a product of St. Francis Secondary School, Makeni. He is the innovator. His passion in telecommunications is rural connectivity. He believes in delivering the last mile solution. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, with the standing ovation, help me welcome Honorable Datuk Alhaji Alpha Bakar Sahib Kanu.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC. I think you dressed me in borrowed robes. Because as they say, Clucus non monachum facit. It is not the gear that makes the monk. But I was looking around when you talked about John the Baptist. I thought we were having a resurrection in here. In any case, thank you very much for the analogy. Your Excellency, President Ernest Bai Koroma, Honorable Ministers from Guinea, Liberia, the delegation from all of West Africa, including Benin, Côte d'Ivoire, Senegal, Gambia, and colleague ministers, honorable members of parliament, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cosmas Zavazava from IG, I crave your indulgence if I ask you to please help me, first of all, recognize the stout effort of His Excellency, the President, when just 2 days ago, he discharged himself. He was not only the Commander-in-Chief of the state, he was also the Director General of Medical Services. He went to Makeni and he discharged patient ultima, the last patient, during all of this Ebola saga in Sierra Leone. And since that time, the country has gone quiet. So please, help me applaud His Excellency, the President, for that stout effort. And that is only the beginning. We shall say it from the tops of the mountains and let everybody know that President Koroma was indeed the Marshal General of Sierra Leone during this war. Your Excellency, colleague ministers from the sub-region, ministers of communication, ministers of health, honorable members of parliament, the representative of the ITU, Mr. Kosmat Zava, the representatives of all of the operators here in Sierra Leone and also in Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana and Nigeria, because I see representatives from MTN, representatives from Globe, representatives from all the other operators, including Airtel ex-Sierra Leone, are here to participate in this conference. It is indeed, like the President said, a momentous occasion today. Because if I think back to August of last year, I am sure I would not dream of seeing a crowd like this, so looking relaxed, without tension, without worry. Because then the EVD was raging. But today, August 2015, we breathe a sigh of relief, and I believe it is day 2 of our countdown to 42 plus 0. It is indeed a recognition of the effort put together by His Excellency and all of the people of Sierra Leone, from ministers to members of parliament to traditional rulers, to work together cooperatively to get to this point. This conference is called Leveraging ICT, that is Information Communication Technology, to save lives. Indeed, we've already seen the example of that. ICTs were used extensively in the contact tracing, in the surveillance, and even in the social mobilization for the fight against Ebola. So the conference itself is appropriate for this morning. But when you call it information and communications technology, a lot of us will shy away because the word itself is jaw-breaking, fills the mouth, the phrase, information and communications technology. What does it really mean? For our people to own this conference, for our people to own this concept, I'm going to attempt to draw analogies from everyday life. What is information and communication technology when you reduce it to our level, the level of the common man? It really means it is the cyber equivalent of our transport system. And I know the Minister of Transport is here. It's the cyber equivalent of our transport system. It's nothing but road transport, air transport, and sea transport translated into the electromagnetic spectrum. So what is it? For a government and the people to enjoy ICTs, there are 4 or 5 key criteria that must be met. 3 of those criteria are obligations of government. The other 2 are shared between government, the private sector, and the users themselves. The most important of all is infrastructure. When you talk about a nation being developed, you look at the road system. So in ICT also, you need the highways. You need the fiber optic cables to run from here we are in Aberdeen, all the way to Gendema, and all the way to Balamwe. You need the airways, the microwaves that take the last mile solutions to you in your mobile phone. You need the seaways, the submarine cable that brings the goods from anywhere else to the ports of Sierra Leone. So it is really a transport system reduced to what you call invisible levels. And that's what the government of President Nkrumah has been doing, laying the groundwork. In 2013, he instigated and also supervised the landing of the ACE submarine cable in Sierra Leone. That caused a change in the way we perceive ICT, because with the landing of that fiber, the cost of landing 1 meg, and I'll tell you here, 1 meg is 1 unit of goods that you load in your tractor or truck to take to your customer. 1 meg is the unit you load in the ship, the container to bring here. But because it's coming through fiber, wires and at the speed of light. We call it a megabyte. 1 meg was landing in Sierra Leone before then at $1,500 a meg, using the satellite. Today, I can safely say that the operators are paying less than $100. In fact, to be exact, they're paying $88. And that is the impact that President Nkrumah's intervention in putting the infrastructure has done in Sierra Leone. Beyond that, he also said that for the goods to get to everywhere in the country, I need to have a terrestrial backbone. And we have now put the terrestrial backbone, again, like I said, from here in Aberdeen, all the way to Balamuna, all the way to Jendema, the Liberian border, all the way to Makeni and to Koidu, Kenema, Bo, Pujau, Zimi, not forgetting Potloka, of course. So the roads are ready. His Excellency has put the infrastructure. What is the next step? The next step is to make the access roads. When the trunk road is built, somebody has to build the road to your house or to your village. But President Nkrumah says that he comes from the private sector. He wants to leave that aspect of the intervention to the private sector, i.e. the last mile. So we have challenged the private sector to latch on to the infrastructure that is existing in the country by joining with government and taking the fiber to your homes. We're waiting for them because we, as a ministry, we are under instructions from President Nkrumah to ensure that by the end of December, at least major cities, major towns in the country enjoy the last mile. So if the private sector doesn't do that, we give you 30 days. We will do it as a government. The next thing a government has to do is to regulate, i.e. put the right laws and regulations to ensure that the private sector has an enabling environment to prosper, but also the nation, through government, must prosper. So it's a balancing act that one must do. But because of the new threats, we now have had to revise our law and look at ways that we can minimize the incidences of cybersecurity. We also have to pay rapt attention to the management of our scarce electromagnetic spectrum resource, which incidentally, Sierra Leone is the first to have declared the electromagnetic spectrum as a national scarce resource and asset. We have to include privacy and data protection, electronic transactions, domain name regulation, digital broadcasting, infrastructure ownership, management and sharing among ourselves to make it easy on us. I was saying the other day when Airtel took me to inspect their new data center. And the information I got from that is that they're building a data center that will have something like 840, what do they call it, tera or something like that. I don't even know what it means. But what it means is that 840 tera is enough to host all the data from all the operators in Guinea, all the operators in Sierra Leone, all those in Liberia, and I'm sure we even have some to spare in case Côte d'Ivoire needs space. So we're building a data center, which I told them is the kind of partnership government is looking for. Government would build a data center if you don't. But if you build it, then we don't have to build it anymore. We will now use the money to deliver on the services like e-health. So I want to salute Airtel for that brave endeavor of spending $10 million to get to where they are. The next aspect after regulation is capacity building. What is the point you having a car, beautiful car, I park it at my mother's village of Mabunkani, and nobody can drive that car? Becomes a white elephant or a black elephant, depending on its color. So for somebody to own a computer or a mobile smartphone and you can't use it, it doesn't make sense. So for people to derive the benefit provided by the new technologies, as a government, we must try and increase the capacity of our people, i.e. teach them how to use these machines. So I have been advocating as a minister, with my colleague, the Minister of Education, Science and Technology, that we need to think about bringing ICT education into the regular curriculum in Sierra Leone so that our children will have an opportunity to learn how to use the new technology. I said to His Excellency the President all the time when I raised this, he said, well, Alpha, when you learn this, I said, Your Excellency, I am past my sell-by date. The advocacy is not for me or my colleagues, it's for our children, our youth who are there, who have the opportunity to learn and explore with their ingenuity to create situations. And when you think of that, the new technologies provide an infinite number of opportunities that you can latch on. I just mentioned that the ICT helped us with contact tracing, with surveillance, and even with social mobilization. But we also had the central nervous system called 117, and that was powered by ICT. That was what helped us to mitigate the incidences of unsafe burials. It helped us to ensure that contacts were traced early enough. So ICT has been at the center of the solution. But what I want to mention here is all the benefits beyond social delivery, economic benefits. You all must have heard about 2 or 3 weeks ago that a group of hackers in Eastern Europe sat in a room somewhere in Eastern Europe and actually hacked into the engine system, onboard computers of the Dodge SUV, the new one. And sitting in Eastern Europe, they could affect the movement of the cars in the USA. They caused the brakes to fail by playing with their keyboard. They caused the steering to go the wrong way when you turn it to the right. So Dodge investigated and they found out that these were hackers. You know what they did? They now employ them. So it means there are huge benefits in this. But then, that is the dark side of it. Let us look at the bright side. We all are fans of Facebook today. There's a young man called Mark Zuckerberg, who was at university in California. Came up with this brilliant idea. And then when he floated this idea somewhere time in 2012, at night in the IPO in New York, when he woke up in the morning, he was $19 billion richer. And I'm sure you all know about Bill Gates. He is the richest man in the world today. He only borrowed $100,000 from his mother's pension fund. Invested in ICT, and today is the richest man in the world. These are the opportunities that are open. Not to me, of course, I'm too old. To our young people. We know about Carlos Slim in Mexico, the second richest in the world. He sells mobile phones, manufactures them, and he has telephone operating companies. Then, of course, I just mentioned the success of 117. Really, that was a good social delivery example for us. I don't think anybody, including the least villager in Sierra Leone, is there who is not familiar with 117. So we want to thank the people who developed 117 for us to help us in the fight against the Ebola menace. This message, Your Excellency, like I said, is a message meant for inspiration. But beyond that, when we sit with our colleagues, we know that Sierra Leone now has 56% mobile telephone penetration. The other 44% or so is rural areas. And this is where the troubles start. This is where the endemic starts, the epidemics, the viruses start. So we will be considering how we can leverage on the existing African satellite system called RASCOM to work with our operators to ensure that we can take rural telephony to our people at affordable prices, even if government has to invest some of its universal access development fund into this, because it is important. Knowing you as a people's man, you want the least man in the village to be able to enjoy the new technologies. So I now wish to appeal to our young people that for you to derive benefit from the ICT, you must pay attention to your science and technology so that Africa can leapfrog in the 21st century, wiping away the lamentable tears we shed when the Industrial Revolution of the 18th century passed us by. I thank you very much.